So everybody, we want to thank you again for joining us for this peer-to-peer session. We are having a chat today with Bernard from Horizon Business Ventures in Kenya. Why we think his company is awesome for you guys to know about is different ways that there are different non-timber forest products where you don't have to cut down the tree. That are based on sometimes native species and sometimes exotic species, but how that can come together, create biodiversity, create a business model that allows you to plant thousands, if not million or more trees, and to value the trees that are already on the land. So I know that Bernard has been working for at least 5 years, if not longer, correct me, on commercializing many essential oils. And so getting that technique right, getting the technology right, the products are good, and finding a market where people want to buy these kind of projects, whether it's creating new high-end beauty products or finding sourcing partners who are already looking for those products. So I think the business end and the nature end is coming together really nicely here. So it's really, really our pleasure to introduce you to Bernard Muchiri from Horizon Business Ventures. And I wonder if Bernard, if you could take a second, is he still there? I feel like he got kicked out or something. Because I don't see him in the list anymore, unfortunately. So
and might have dropped.
Yeah, he'll probably be back in a couple of seconds, as you guys might be familiar with dropping and joining back on. So so I will even just pull up his screen so that when he's back, Fabian, if you can just watch for him. And I will also chat with him and say, do you still have Wi-Fi? And I'll pull up his deck while that's going on. Inbox, let's see. Man, I wonder if it's like a Kenya thing because Samuel's not online yet either. Nonetheless, I think the way that Looney took you guys through a slide deck, I can't do it the same as Bernard, but we can start to preview some of the things that are really cool and then hear from him in his own words. That might be a good way for us to get started. So we're checking out this slide deck. You see the oils looking great. I love this slide. So yeah, maybe we'll just do a little bit of slide analysis. So we worked with Bernard on his slides last year, and we really like a lot of the things he's done here. So this one starts to really show where he's working in Kenya. So I think you can see that there's the Kenya map there. And I think this is a really important slide for people to include on their pitch decks, because then people can see where you are, how much land you're working with. So what I would actually want to add to this slide would be how many hectares are shown in green, because that would help us understand a little bit more. I do like that he's talking about 30% of this land is farmland, forest land that he's sourcing from, and 70% is farmland. So on the forest land, he's valuing the trees that are already there. And on the farmland, you know, he's basically found ways to get people to plant more trees on their farmland. So bringing agroforestry to his communities. So that's the kind of stories that these numbers actually tell. We've got a few pictures here of some examples of native trees and what they're doing with them. And of course, like, he will do this much better, but just wanted to go over the kind of slides. You'll see some of the template from our session 2 weeks ago that he started with, talking about the challenge. Of course, as you guys probably all familiar with this kind of a cycle, I think that most people here are dealing with this kind of a cycle. Deforestation, land degradation, lower productivity on farms, climate change is happening, and all that's contributing to more poverty. So we need to step in with interventions that can change that cycle. I think that's what most of you are doing. So that's where some commonalities are. So he is working with, again, indigenous forests, helping value some of those indigenous forests so that they stay standing. technology to create these oils, and you can see the end product there. Again, now we're moving to the financial section where we're talking about, is the essential oil market, how large is it? And is it growing? So right now he sells all of his products within Kenya.
And
but
Bernard is back.
Perfect, Bernard. We were just giving a little preview. Bernard, we'd love to invite you to join us. I told him I would just start to preview some of the things that we liked about your slides and that you would be able to do it better from your own voice. But first, Bernard, I wanted to check, how's your Wi-Fi situation? Is it something that is, do you think it's going to work out, or we're just going to see? You might be on mute. So if you can unmute yourself, that would be good. Fabiana, can you request to unmute him?
I did.
Okay, thanks.
Give it a moment.
Yeah, so he's trying to join from his mobile phone. Unfortunately, power has gone off from his end.
Okay, so maybe it looks like he's joined. He just needs to figure out which buttons to push. Can we talk him through that at all? What does it look like on your cell phone? I haven't been on WhatsApp on my cell phone for a while. I'm not WhatsApp, Zoom.
I'm guessing it's a connectivity issue. I've asked him, I've done the ask to unmute a couple times, so.
Strange. Can we chat him? Can you guys chat him directly maybe? Well, then I'll just go back to where I was. And if you guys can keep working with him, Samuel, does that sound like what we could do? And then interrupt me if something changes. I thank you all for this patience. Interrupt me if this changes. So I'm going to get back to this. Let's go and see the next slide. Okay, technology looking great. Size of the market. He looks to be exporting soon, so it looks like he wants to grow his revenue base by finding new markets, continuing to provide to the ones he's working with right now. Now he's talking about what products does he actually sell. And you'll see, I don't know all these products. So Compassionate, I'm not sure what it is. Baobab, yes. Neem, cold pressed oils, distillation oils, Lileswa, and wild basil. Sounds delicious. And it also looks like here that he has carbon financing. So that will be a great question to ask him about later. How did he get that? Or is he in the process, and what it's been like for him so far? He is talking about some competitors here. We did want to maybe ask a different kind of competitive slide. So if you followed the template that Luna gave, you might have a more clear competitor slide than this one, but he is listing some other companies that we may or may not have heard of, and that's fine. But here he's talking about his competitive advantage anyway. Endemic species within the landscape, creating oils that people don't have yet. He's talking about 3 Bs. He'll have to describe what the 3 Bs are.
Neda, at least mute.
There we go.
All right, we got it. Ready?
Yeah, sorry, I had a lot of problems. Hello?
Yes, we hear you. Perfect.
Yeah, I had encountered a lot of problems, including unmuting. It was refusing. Yeah. So where have you reached? Or do I start from the beginning?
I think you should start from the beginning because you're going to present it much better.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Bernard Muchiri. I work for Horizon Business Ventures. It's a company that started some time back, and we work with forest adjacent communities. And the company evolved from the work of an NGO that that identified that climate change was increasingly making the conventional agriculture, the main economic stay of the local community, very difficult. So we started exploring alternative livelihood means, and eventually we turned to the forest because the area we work with is surrounded by a number of forests, some with very rich biodiversity. And then we did something called the ethnobotanical survey that identified plants with economic value within the forest. And the research came up with a list of potential plants. Our first business was production of biodiesel. Why we started with biodiesel is because the plants with biodiesel oil properties was in plenty and the technology was available. Eventually, we changed that because biodiesel was not commercially viable, and we went back to our list and identified other plants like Cape chestnut. And Cape chestnut proved very viable because there was market for skincare and wellness industry for that. So can you go to the next slide? Yeah, we work in two forest block within. One is Mount Kenya forest, and the other one is Aberdares. So the map just shows where these two forest blocks are, but within the two forests, there are small scale farmers. Next. Our business is basically to stop people from cutting trees, because we also identified, apart from climate change and livelihoods, we also identified that people around the forest were moving to the forest to cut trees or get involved in other illegal extracting activities. And we identified that once we connect trees and other plants with economic activities or economic value, people will stop cutting trees. Next. So our business try to tackle three integrated challenges. Poverty, that was the entry point, deforestation, and climate change. And I'm going to explain how these three are integrated later, probably during question and answer sessions. Next. The photos here shows how the business is integrated. What we have is resources. There, the photo shows a lady collecting Cape chestnut, one of the nuts that we use from the forest. There is a guy trying to operate a machine. This is a steam distillation machine, and that is the product. There is market for that product. So the components of the business is represented here: raw materials, technology, and the market. Continue. Yeah, the business capitalize on the increasing market in the natural preventable product market. In Kenya, the essential oil market is $98 million. It's worth 98 million. Worldwide, it is 8.8 and increasing at 8%, and they are expected to reach 15.3 billion in 2027. So this is what really drives the market. the fact that there is demand locally and projected demand in the international market. So we have two processes. One of them is cold press, that we target seeds and nuts, and the other one is steam distillation that target plant biomass, that is leaves biomass. We also have we are also pursuing carbon financing through a number of entities, climate partners, and Planfimo, and others like Terraformation. So these are the revenue streams in the business. We have competition, of course. Some of these are found locally, and the others are found in Nairobi. And our competitive advantage is basically that we are able to access a number of endemic species within a project landscape, which allow the production of a range of trees, of oils. Then we have a 3Bs model. I think I'm going to explain that later, but 3Bs means biodiversity, business, and blend. And blend represents the income, the livelihood of local communities. So this one sells quite a bit. I'm going to explain that especially in the investment circles, when you connect poverty, climate change, and local income, and by extension sustainability. And we have flexibility in pricing. These are mainly high value oils, and you are able to be very flexible starting from the production cost. So yeah, the margins can really the margins are flexible depending especially on the volume that a customer buys. You can continue. The business, basically we intend to this is the projections once we get the necessary partnership, that we currently we have put 13,900 hectares under sustainable management of the forest. That is the 3Bs model. We have planted thousands of hundreds of thousands of trees, and the projected job opportunities within the model is permanent within the business only, and we intended to target 1,200 households from the current 400. Continue. These are the people behind the business. They are all qualified in their own areas. I'm a botanist. Mary has a degree in commerce. Joyce has a degree in business administration, and Frank in mechanical engineering. So we are all local. We all have a buy-in in the project from a socio-economic and environmental perspective. Continue. This is basically the actual from 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. These are the actual projections, and we expect to increase this. This was the current audit report is quite good. It's not really as projected because this was done before the actual audit. So we in 2022 we have actually reached something like 200,000 USD. And the graph, the table here talk about projections. So we are increasing quite well because first of all, the increase for 2022 was because we got investment to buy upgraded steam distillation machine. That's why the increase is. continue. Yeah, so this is basically the funds that are required to expand the raw material base, conduct certification, establish a soap, cream, lotion production line. Somebody will ask us why, but this is because the margins are very high. Once, if you, for example, if you package wild basil to that of 50 meals, it will bring almost 10 times the what you do sell the raw material, the oil as it comes from the machines. So that this is something that we are trying in terms of creating some soap, cream, oil, and lotion, and other hair products. So we also want to establish a quality and analysis lab that most of the market require on-site analysis of these oils and products. So this is very crucial for our business. Otherwise, every time a new customer comes in, we have to go to take the product to Nairobi, which is a bit expensive. We are marketing strategy, and this is more or less concerned with online and digital marketing, especially because we are moving into smaller product lines. Marula equipment, fortunately, through a lot of patience, we have been able to target Marula equipment from South Africa, which we probably can afford even now. But yeah, this is something that we have been looking for, because there is a lot of Marula that go to waste every season, especially on the eastern part of Mount Kenya. Backup generator, it's related to the. However, Kenya is reputed to have a constant supply of electricity. I had just before I joined, after I joined the electricity, I had to. There was an interruption in electricity. So this one become very expensive if you are operating the machine. So you need a backup generator, and we are also talking with the solar-oriented people whether they can be able to do it, because we don't really use a lot of electricity, but it's very crucial for our smooth operations. And of course, personnel. This is something probably I'll discuss later. Personnel is a very critical issue because we work in a rural village where people need a qualified. It's very hard to get qualified people, and if you get one, then it is very expensive. Can go ahead. That photo shows the new steam distillation machine. The people there are trying it out on how to operate it. Go ahead. Yeah, we cooperate especially with Kenya Forest Services. This is a government institution that hold the mandate to manage the forest in Kenya. And this is a very critical partner in terms of accessing non-wood forest products within the forest. And of course, training in some technical issues. They are involved through and through. Plan FIFO, we are registered with the Plan FIFO for PIN as a PIN project. We have a project identification number with them. LAD accelerator, everybody knows, capacity building and linkages. There is an NGO called Self-Help Center that help us in terms of mobilization of community and training aspect. There is Silver, Doen. These are all partners in financing partners. I'll probably be able to answer specific question on them. And E4 Impact has been our partner in terms of capacity building. Those are happy men and women as part of our beneficiaries. And yeah, ready probably to answer questions.
Thank you so much, Bernard, for taking us through about your business. Super exciting. And I just had a question. Want to congratulate you on your investment. What would you be able to share any details about your investment, such as how much, or if it was equity or debt, or how you found your investor, and if it's your first investment you received or your 15th, you can just share a little bit about that story of your investment journey.
Yeah, we have very recent investors, and it's a combination. I think that percent is grants and 70% is debt. And these investors, how we found them was I would start with Genesis Charitable Trust Fund. The trust fund came to fund the NGO, and we applied through the competitive bidding, and we got the money. And later, because of the business, they saw business potential in the whole thing. We had to now deal from a loan perspective. So it was mainly competitive application, but the connection came through the NGO. So we received a loan of 150,000 USD, mainly to buy equipment and to expand the raw material resource base. So we have paid the loan for 3 years now, and yeah, we were able also to attract the second financier was CIV. This financier basically approached us. They saw our business in the website. I think website is very, very critical, and we started a discussion process which took almost 1 year, more than 1 year. There were a lot of requirements in terms of proving the business concept, and their main interest was restoration and biodiversity conservation, but also critically the socioeconomic impact. The other one was Doen. We also identified Doen through a fund for NGO website, and we applied, and we agreed we came to an agreement that it will be a combination of grants and loan. So all those things, but the commonality, they have a different approach to funding. As I said, CIV took a long time. The Genesis took a much less time, and Doen also took a much less time. But the connection between all of them was that there must be very strong socioeconomic impact combined with environmental impact. And of course, the sustainability, the other element was sustainability, very, very critical. And you had to prove that this project is sustainable in all the 3 critical areas. That is the raw materials, the operation wise in terms of capacity to operate, and in terms of market.
Very exciting to learn a bit about the kind of things you had to go through to work with those investors, and that each one of them was different, but they had commonalities about the social and environmental requirements, which actually can open up the market for some funding that people might not otherwise get. So I wanted to pass to Samuel for an additional question that he might have or comment.
Thanks so much, Amanda, and thanks so much, Bwana Muchiri, for agreeing to come and share your story. Yeah, happy to listen to you. And I'm looking at the chat to see whether there are any question. I can't spot any. In the meantime, for the team, feel free to use the chat to ask your question or even raise your hand, and we should be able to give you an opportunity to ask Bernard any question that you have. But even as we get there, I was just curious. Yes, Bernard, you have talked about social economic support. You have mentioned about supporting smallholder farmers. And I'm just curious in terms of the day-to-day operationalization, how do you engage these smallholder farmers? You talked about forest in the Mount Kenya. So how have you been able to gather the farmers together? Is it that they get to the forest, they collect the raw material, they bring, maybe you may want to guide us that and maybe share, are there challenges in that model? Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, how we connected with these small stakeholders, of course, even before we had established relationship with them, but in terms of specifically for this model, they are the one who actually supplied the local knowledge in terms of plant utilization. The botanical survey is actually capturing what knowledge in terms of plant biodiversity, and they are the one who are identifying the plant. They were telling us how they use, what part of the plant they use, how they use it, what kind of methods they were using it, and from there we concretized the relationship. And currently we work through seed collection groups. Originally, we only dealt with nuts, so we called them seed collection groups that are found in every forest block, and these groups are based on what is found within that forest. So we from that group we train them. We help them to establish the collection centers from a very simple weighing machine, bags, and training them in terms of business and entrepreneurial skills, record keeping, and we sometimes give them phones to communicate. So that is the connection that we have with these people. Of course, these people are part of community forest associations, which we had already established contact, because we have helped through the NGO. We had helped the association to establish forest management plans that are needed to formalize CFA from a Forest Act to 2015. So we have that the relationship, and the other relationship is that we have contractual engagement with them, and the communication lines are very open, and we deal with each seed collection center from the perspective of the volume they have collected. So we pick them, we pick the biomass using our truck, and we pay through M-Pesa. So there is a number of connection layers with them. The only difference is when we come to the collection of other biomass like leaves and twigs. So here we don't only deal with groups, but we deal with individuals and groups at the same time, because some of this material are also found on the farm. So groups and individuals are involved in the collection and delivery of raw materials.
Thanks so much, Bernard. You talked about the market access. Mainly right now you are concentrating in Kenya, but you're looking at more than 30% for export. I'm just wondering, in terms of the opportunity, where lies big opportunity? Is it local market or is it export market? And I know you had talked about these big numbers in terms of the global market, but I'm just wondering in terms of practicability, where do you see a lot of market?
I think the biggest potential is local market. Mm-hmm. It has its own challenges. in the beginning we got spoiled because we got an international market that was very, very good. In fact, it almost made us ignore the local market, but that market was not, it didn't continue for some reason. So we reverted back to the local market, and we think that the local market is the best option rather than international market. But of course, both of them have their own challenges. The local market doesn't really deal so much on volumes. There's a lot of bargaining, and yeah, and sometimes they don't want to pay that. They don't want to pay immediately. They will wait for another 1 month. Sometimes we understand, sometimes we don't. So, but generally, both markets. One of the hindrances for exploring the international market, especially in the period between 2021 and 2022, was actually the capacity, because the international market require volumes, and we didn't have the capacity to process volumes, and we were worried about consistency, of course, of raw materials. That because this is a market that require you to consistently supply as you had agreed.
Thanks so much, Bernard. Yeah, very great insights coming in from you. And I see a lot of questions coming in through the chat. You talked about the 3 Bs in your business, very critical. David would like to understand better what does it mean, and especially if you link that to the conservation aspect. And then I can see Yegon would like to know more about the project impact. What is the secret in a manner that you manage 40,000 hectares and growing more than 800,000 trees? So what is the secret? That's what Yegon would like to know. And maybe touch around the impact that you've been able to create. I know you mentioned that on the chat, but yeah, feel free to mention that. We'll be able to check on the French question. I'm sure Amanda will come in and help me with the French question. But yeah, Bernard, feel free to talk about the 3 Bs, the impact, and also what is the secret.
Yeah, the 3 Bs is, as I said, it means biodiversity, business, and bled. And this model balances. Why we call that 3 Bs is because it balances conservation, represented by biodiversity, profit, and rural livelihoods. So the model, basically the origin of the model, or the backdrop of the model, is actually the existence of biodiversity that have essential properties within the forest. And then, of course, comes the business, because the business is the one that demand that biodiversity, and for the community around the forest to sustain their interest, you have to provide them. They have to gain economically. So that is how the model, the 3B model, is explained, and the model has implications on poverty, because these people are the sole supplier of raw materials, and as I said, we have contract with them. We pay according to those contracts, so they gain in monetary terms. The business process and value add these raw materials, and therefore make profit, and the community around the forests, of course, gain financial returns from the whole thing. The biodiversity aspect is that once the community get or experience financial benefits from the forest, or from a particular tree, they stop cutting that tree. They'll start actively protect the forest, and they will start domesticating of the same trees on their farms. We have seen a lot of domestication of these trees. There are a lot of preliminary investigation that has been done with the forest that indicate huge reduction of illegal forest activities within the forest. The numbers of 840,000 hectares was actually a projection. As I mentioned, now we are in a forest block that with the size of 30,900 hectares, and this is where we have done a bit of study to see the impact in terms of the illegal forest activities, in terms of regeneration and the regeneration measured from the number of seedlings that are emerging, and in terms of the people that are benefiting from that forest. So there is a lot of income. If you come during the season, especially the Cape Sustenance season, people talk about manna from heaven, because this is a crop. I mean, this is not like growing crops. It is just waiting for the right season, for the right moment, harvesting and selling the seed without any very little input from individuals around the forest. So that is basically the meaning. The impact we see on an average, people will make an additional $560 per year. The average income within the allowed the forest is about $1.9 US dollars per day. So an additional $560 per year is quite huge, and this is an average. There, we have recorded people earning even 2,000 per day. Okay, in terms of Kenyan shillings, I don't know. That is about 20, yeah, about $20 per day in terms of collection. There is a lot of activity during that time. Of course, we monitor the collection within the forest because that is a requirement from the Forest Authority, so that there is no damage during the collection. But a lot of excitement in terms of collection, harvesting, and sale of biomass. Jobs within the emerging value chain, we have created 13 jobs now. And these are permanent jobs that most of them goes to the local community. As I said, from an environmental perspective, there is regeneration, there is reduction in illegal forest activities, and there is domestication of these trees on the farms. And I would say this is an income that is stable, it is predictable, and it is climate resilient because a tree will produce whether there is drought or not, unlike other crops.
Great insights, Bwana Muchiri, and thanks so much for sharing that with us. Indeed, as you talk about income for the community that is actually growing these trees or collecting these materials, somebody is asking, are there opportunities for partnership with you? For example, if I'm doing the same business, but a startup, is there an opportunity that I can be able to partner with you? But even as you respond that, there are questions that are coming in terms of how you're able to integrate these trees with other crops. Is that something that is possible? And then from our brothers and sisters from the Francophone countries, somebody want to know in terms of how did you start in terms of financing your business? Is it from these financials, or did you use your own capital? How was it? Yeah, so those are some of the questions that are coming in. Maybe you may want to respond to those ones. And then should you have any question, feel free to raise your hand. We still have some few minutes And I'm happy to give 1 or 2 people to ask questions. Yeah, yes, Bwana Muchiri.
The first one was?
Yeah, around partnership. So there's a question around partnership. How can we partner with you? And then there was the question around how can these trees be integrated with other crops? And then there's the other question around how did you start in terms of investing in your business? Did you get investment from these financiers or did you use your own resources? I think that's what he wants to know.
Yeah, basically in terms of a partnership, it all depends on where you are, because we believe that every forests have their own unique biodiversity. If you are outside our geographical location, then it's probably a bit difficult, but we can exchange experience and lessons if you want, especially if you are close to the forest. We believe that every forest will have these kind of properties and resources that can be exploited and managed, and if managed properly, they can generate income. The plants, the uniqueness of every forest will probably require a different approach, especially from the perspective of technology, because most of these plants do not have different. We struggled a lot in the beginning because of especially croton and the marula, as I mentioned, because we didn't really have the technology to do that, and we had to liaise with India, technology companies in India to actually develop a technology that will fit our purpose. How we started is it's, as I said, I mentioned that we evolved from the work of an NGO, and these NGOs allowed us to establish the business for the purpose of sustainability of the work that has already been completed, and they gave us a boost. At first they gave us a boost, but most of the investment money came from the people concerned until we received the investment. So a lot of support from the NGO, investment from the people concerned, and later we accessed the finances from investors. The trees, as you mentioned, the trees are basically indigenous. We know that they have been integrated in the farming system, especially the wild farming landscape. But we are not very sure whether you can integrate this crop from an agroforestry perspective, because regardless of how much agroforestry work, every tree planted has a negative effect on the next crop. So, but you can integrate this tree very well with the grassland, especially if you protect them during the initial stages. Yes, we have not done a lot of research on to know the impact of these trees in relation to crops.
Thank you so much, Bwana Muchiri. Yeah, I cannot go without asking you this question. You joined us 2022 cohort for the Land Accelerator, and I'm just curious from your own experience how you'd actually say the Land Accelerator helped you. And congratulations for a very good pitch deck, quite a lot of improvement right there. Yeah, so you may want to share with the cohort here how your journey was, even getting to phase 2. Soon we'll be opening application for phase 2, and maybe you may want to say a word regarding that as well.
Yeah, I think Land Accelerator is a very good entry point for any business, and everybody should strive to actually be a candidate, be a cohort. One, even if you don't get the money, you have some level of credibility. When we approached one of the investors, which we eventually succeeded, they asked us whether we are part of Land Accelerator and why not. And basically, we struggled with that, and I think it's for credibility purposes when you are approaching the potential investors, it is a very good name to mention. Second, I think their training model, of course, we joined when COVID was at the peak, and a lot of it was online, and some of us, especially the old generation, were hoping that it would be physical. But we got a lot of insights from all perspectives of the business, from restoration, from business operation, from marketing, from budgeting, planning, technical management, and financial aspects. I think there is a lot of insight, and we benefited a lot, because some of the questions that or the issues that you are supposed to address when it comes to investors were really addressed. By especially the financial models. This we were impacted a lot, and we know that using a consultant, because the tendency is for business to actually, when they ask a question they cannot answer, is to go for consultancy. Using a consultant is very, very expensive. So to avoid consultants, join the Land Accelerator so that you can gain and reduce the cost of operation. So and of course networking. There's a lot of networking within. There's a lot of people that you don't even know within your country that you can exchange experience and lessons. A lot of people outside your country through the Land Accelerator, you can create contacts and even establish businesses together. So there is that there are those aspects. I'm sure we don't have time to really ask me who did you connect with, but we have one guy from Tanzania who we have connected business wise, and even from the interaction, the sessions, you might be in a position. It is a good opportunity to actually even connect with an investor.
Amazing. Thanks. Happy to hear those feedback from you, Muchiri. And I do remember our times with you in Rwanda last year when we actually attended the top 15 2022 cohort. And you're a true example of resilience, because you actually participated in 2021, if I remember correct.
Yeah.
And you didn't succeed to get to top 15. But thereafter, you applied in 2022 and you are successful.
Yeah.
And same can happen with this group. You apply for this year, but you're not successful. You can still apply next year and you're successful. And Muchiri is a very good example. So thanks so much, Muchiri. I'm just wondering whether there is anybody with a question.
I saw a question.
Yes,
I didn't see any
Amanda.
with the hand. I saw a question, and I think we touched on it a little bit, but I always like to bring it up again. Someone asked about partnership, and they specifically said, can we grow these trees and supply them to you? That might be tough across different geographies, but how has that been working for you? Or what kind of partnerships are you looking for the most right now? Just to be very specific, if you could get more partnerships, either from people here or not in this room, what kind of things are you looking to partner for your business to grow right now? Of course, in addition
Yeah.
to new funding, which everybody will need.
Yeah, the most critical aspect is actually raw materials. I can give an example that we were given some work to do a feasibility study of the sourcing of raw material, how we can integrate material from Kirisia forest, which is about 100 kilometers from our place, more than 100 kilometers. And we went there. We did some level of investigation, not really a full ethnobotanical survey, but it was based on observation. And we connected with the community there. And on one particular plant that has a lot of potential, wild basil, there's a lot of wild basil in Kirisia forest. So we have connected with them. So yeah, in terms of raw materials, it is very possible, especially if it is existing with the forest. Something that I never mentioned, that we also started integrating essential oil crops within the farms. That is another opportunity for partnership. We go as far as 200 kilometers to collect for the farm-based raw material. So there is a huge opportunity for partnership. Of course, we consider the cost of logistics in all this. In terms of marketing, yes, we can if you are intending to get involved in the business of essential oils, or even in production of value-added products, yeah, we are ready to supply you, and we are ready to provide you with all the information that is necessary.
Well, thank you so much. Perhaps on that note, I believe that will we be able to post your PDF of your presentation to our Restore Forward online group? And that has your contact information. So if anybody here is interested, they can follow up via email. Does that sound good with you, Bernard?
Yes, no problem.
Perfect. So everybody here, within a day, you can check on the Restore Forward peer sessions group for the recording, the PowerPoint presentation, and Bernard's contact information. And we want to remind you, of course, I think that next week on Tuesday, we're having our session on gender equity and inclusion. Is that correct, Samuel? I believe it is. Sorry, I should have looked at it. I almost remember that. And I want to tell you that whether you are a female or a male, or you employ 100% females or 20% or 1% females, I think this is a session that everybody loves. Bernard, you're invited as well. Just let us know. We've provided you some links. But people pretty much love this session. Gives them a chance to open their minds and talk about something we didn't talk about before, and gets you to think about how you can talk about the gender impacts that your company's having, or ways to have additional impacts. So it gives us a lot of really cool tools to work with. So we hope to see you there on Tuesday, and wanted to just promote again the date that we're going to have the due date for the 3 deliverables, which is a working website. You might already have one, which is a pitch deck. So you saw another example today from Bernard, and thank you so much. And a site visit video. Those are going to be due July 23rd. So we've not launched our application form yet, but basically you can get those 3 things completed anytime, because you can just upload or copy and paste the links into the sheet. So we just wanted to keep that on your mind. That will be Sunday, July 23rd. And we're going to start reminding you at the end of every session, just so that no one forgets. And so I want to invite Samuel to give a final welcome and thank you to Bernard.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Bernard, for accepting our invitation to come and share your business model. Very unique and quite a lot of interest from the participants. So do expect most of them to reach out to you. Otherwise, we will connect soon, and let's hope for the best with the Terra Fund. Otherwise, thank you so much. And for the rest of the team, I'll see you on Tuesday For the team that is here from Ghana, if you are here, I'll be coming next week. Yeah, so feel free to drop me a message and we can connect. Otherwise, thank you so much and see you next week.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye everybody. Thank you.
Bye bye.